Well, guys, what is up? What is going on out there today? It's Brent Abel here, webtennis.com, with yet another tennis theory versus reality. Here's what actually works, and I should add to that for me. And never the guy that's going to tell you, "Hey, I've got the one and only answer for every type of player out there," because that's just not true. But this is the stuff that's worked for me, and certainly, it's worth considering for you as well. If you're a tournament player or a league player, or just playing a lot of serious practice matches, here's the formula that I go through weekly, and that I'm going to encourage you to do as well. And number one, all the warm ups, anytime you're on the court. And I've got a bullet list here of different kind of on-court situations that I want you to try. But there's two things that I do in the warm-up every time is number one, even if we start up close to the net where we're both on the tee, right? Or maybe doubles or whatever it is, and all four of us are there in the service line, kind of tapping the ball back and forth. And one of the big mistakes I used to make, and then I see all the time, is players stand there, they're rooted, they're facing the net, and they're just reaching around with their racket, whether it's forehand, ball right at them, maybe a backhand. There is zero footwork going on. And you certainly don't want to give that message to your brain that, hey, this is what tennis is all about. We're just standing here, just kind of reaching here, there for the ball. You want to make sure that every incoming ball, even if it's tapped when you guys are up at net, is you've got footwork. You're now creating the spacing, right? The spatial distance away from the path of that little slow incoming ball. So you're always getting the perfect contact point that's ideal for you. And then when I make contact, I'm really aware of not peeking, right? Peek, not looking up before I make contact, because that's a habit I want to instill again for today. Spacing, critical, right? For being able to be a consistent shot maker. And then peeking, no peeking. Again, that's huge, right? So in the warm up, make sure that those two things are first and foremost on your mind. And if you want to yak away, that's fine. Talk about yesterday's football game or whatever, but make sure that you're not standing there just rooted, no footwork, no spacing, and just kind of looking out the landscape as you make contact. Don't give your brain that message. Next thing is you got to play three practice sets versus a butt kicker, right? And a butt kicker to me is someone who is going to win 9 out of 10 sets every time you play, right? I mean, on the average, your winning percentage on sets is going to be about 10%. And you want to make sure that you do this at an away venue. You get away from your comfy confines, right? Because when we play tournaments or when we play league matches, um, except for league stuff where it's at home, I guess 50% of the time, but certainly for tournaments with me, I'm always traveling. So I don't want to get conditioned to my comfy confines against the same guy at the same time, the same day, court four, every stinking week. I want to make sure that I put myself in a situation where number one, I'm away from my home facility. And then number two, three sets against someone who's got to kick my butt, you know, 90% of the sets on average. So, and what I do for that is I really try to relax in those situations where I'm less about, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. This guy's kicking my no. I'm just trying to feel, what is that level like? What is the feeling at that level, right? What's the ball speed? Is it different than when I'm playing someone who's right at my level? Um, are they way more consistent, than someone at my level? Whatever it is, I just want to kind of get in tune with that. I want to acclimate myself with that and see if that player can't sort of pull me up to their level rather than me forcing, I've got to play at that level. So it's a different mindset, and you got to get comfortable for a while at that level, being able to get your butt beat a lot. And eventually, over time, once you do that, if you have the right mindset when you're playing those three sets on a weekly basis, is that when you play your guys who are right there at your skill level, now all of a sudden you start to separate yourself in terms of that winning margin. So Three sets against the butt kicker and get out of your comfy confines. Next thing is another three practice sets. So we're talking about 2 days a week, right? 1 day a week getting your butt kicked. Number two, then playing against someone at your own skill level. Again, find someone that will allow you to go over to their place. And look, I'm not saying that you got to do this every time. Sure, once in a while, if you want to invite them over, that's fine. But you got to get out of this thing of playing the same guy on the same day at the same time, most of the time on the same court, at your club or your facility, right? You've got to mix that up. So three practice sets versus the same skill level as you. And again, I would mix it up. I wouldn't do the same guy. I'd find you got to get resourceful, right? You got to find different guys. Um, Next one is a points, what I call a points session. And a point session is really kind of two parts to it. The first 15 minutes, we're spending what 5 minutes getting warmed up, but then another 15 minutes of a drill. And it's not playing points, it's just a drill. It could be cross court, it could be up the line, it could be right back up the middle. But you want to really focus on making sure you make the first three balls, right? The last thing we want to get into is we want to start conditioning ourselves that, hey, all we're doing is practicing here, trying to hit big, either outright winners or big shots that most likely won't come back. That's just not real. When we play our matches, that's not how it goes. And so what you want to feel is that, you could also play a doubles drill too, a one-on-one cross-court doubles drill with just one guy over there. You serve, transition, volley. Make your first three shots every stinking time. Could be that you're returning serve on that doubles drill. Okay, make your first three shots. Return if you can, transition, and then make your then make your first volley. But even if you're not serving, set up a drill. Right, cross court, up the line, whatever it is, right back up the middle. Make your first three shots, and then you'll just kind of take it from there. The second part of the point session is you're going to serve for 10 minutes. You're going to go deuce, add, deuce, add. You guys aren't keeping score. It's more based on time. And 10 minutes is not a hard number. Could be 12 minutes, could be 15 minutes. You don't want to go so long that you risk doing some damage to your shoulder on the serve, but you're going to play points, right? And what I like to do with that, since we're not keeping score, I'm not too I'm not too concerned about the score. I have one focus during those 10 minutes if I'm serving, right? It could be that, you know what, I really want to work on this serve going to the body, right? Or I really want to, work on this serve in the deuce side going out wide. I don't care if the guy knows, that's fine, but I want to work on one thing. Maybe during the points, I continue the three balls mindset of serve, whatever comes back, I'm going to make that next shot. Whatever comes back to that, I'm going to make that third shot as well. There's lots of different focuses here that we could potentially work on. Serve for 10 minutes, then take a little couple-minute break, get some water, kind of recover a little bit, and then switch. Let him or her over there then do the same thing, right? Where they serve for 10 minutes, and now you're obviously returning for 10 minutes. Maybe you're working on that return to serve, right, in the 10 minutes when they're serving. Maybe you're just working on, hey, I'm going to take this every return, no matter how fat and juicy it is. I'm going to go right back up the middle because there's lots of times when you play players that they love in the match for you to take them out wide, either to the do side or the ad side, right? They love looking at the court from that geometric angle, right? Against those guys, man, I just don't give them that ball. I go right back up the middle. I challenge their footwork. Can you get out of the way of the ball? Maybe as well, as well as you do when you move over to the corner, right? Are they the type of player that feels like they've got to hit winners to end the point? Well, they're probably better doing that from a corner than they are right up the middle. So sometimes I don't care. Like I said, I don't care how fat and juicy that second serve is incoming. I'm going big up the middle. Hey, drop shots. Are you ever practicing on a second serve a disguised drop shot return to serve? That could be a focus, right? All right. Post sets and session recovery, right? What do we do after we play those three sets against the butt kicker? What do we do against those three sets that we play uh, against the same skill level? What do we do against these point sessions, right? And look, I've talked about the three practice sets against the butt kicker and then the same skill level. That's 2 days right there, right? You can now add in this point sessions another 3 days. Well, now you got 5 days. Your week is almost filled up, right? If you want to spend another 2 days, you play 3 days, then you take a break for one day. Maybe it's a big gym session. All right, you're off the court. That's fine. One day a week, you take a full break from being on the court in the gym. But whatever you do, whatever you have for this mixed, after every one of these practice sets when you play, after every one of the sessions, the point sessions, man, you got to have a recovery. You got to really focus on recovery if you're going to be able to go out and do the next thing and really be fresh the next day. I like to get on the stationary bike for about 10, 12 minutes. Not real high, but I want to work that lactic acid out, right? Want to push it throughout my entire body so it's just not clumped in one area of the body. So I get in the stationary bike for 10, 12 minutes on a low tension. I got my little gym here in the garage. I've got a TV in there. I turn on a tennis channel and just relax for those 10 or 12 minutes. Then I do a real focused stretch, right? I'm stretching my lower back. That's typically for me been the problem area in matches, what I think is more mental than physical. I've worked that out over the years. But I'm going to make sure that I do a lot of stretching, and then I get on the foam roller, right? I want to kind of make sure those hamstrings and the quads and the calves and all that stuff, IT band gets all stretched out. Afterwards, I got to shove some protein in the body, right? Got to start those muscles repairing. And then any problem areas I've got right now, I got a left knee, I got to make sure that I sit down, right? So there's a lot of work to be done afterwards. How long this takes, um, I'm about 30 minutes. So it's a real um, specific part of my daily workout, whether on the court or off the court. And then the other thing is to make sure that off the court, and I do this two times a day. I do it early in the morning and I do it, relatively late at night in the evening, is I carve out some time by myself. I'll shut my eyes, I'll visualize. I'm going to visualize points, right? I'm going to visualize seeing myself in two ways. Number one, where I'm inside my body looking out at the court and seeing an incoming ball and hitting the ball and seeing the height going over the net the way that I want to. It's less about having to win and more about am I being a consistent shot maker in that visualized point. Number two is I'm visualizing as if I'm a spectator watching myself do the same thing. And then I've got a little affirmation that I just read. Takes me about 45 to 60 seconds, right? I'll read it once, maybe twice, and I'll do that, a couple times a day. And then DG is continuing to build the belief and trust in delayed gratification. We want results way too fast. We live in the future in terms of forcing outcomes way too much. That causes a lot of stress, causes a lot of low confidence. If you trust and believe in delayed gratification of this weekly winning formula, that it'll eventually pay off for you, whether it's you're finally beating someone that you've never ever beaten before, or maybe against that guy in the three practice sets who's a butt kicker. Now all of a sudden you're starting to win 20% of the sets, right? Um, Maybe all of a sudden you're now moving up into that next skill level, but you can't force the outcomes. You just can't do it. You've got to let them come to you. And if you put in the work on this weekly process and you believe and trust in delayed gratification, guarantee, man, it's going to happen. So, look, hopefully, this has been helpful for you today. The other thing that I would suggest is, look, if you want some specific help with your game, whether it's swing tech on a certain stroke, whether it's mental mindset training, confidence building, fitness, tactics, strategies, whatever it is, look, it's on me. I'm going to offer you a 15-minute free, no charge, on me coaching call. We can talk about anything that you want. There is a link right down below. Click it, and you can cherry pick a date and time that works best for you. And we'll get in the phone. I'll give you a call at the appointed time. And it's a private one-on-one call, and we will chat about what you want to get fixed, how you want to start that permanent fix. All right, guys, that's it for me today. Again, hope this has been helpful. As always, it's time we got to get out there. We got to help someone else have a spectacular day, guys. I will see you again next time.